This week on the podcast, we're pitching how we would make Xbox great again and react to their developer direct. Scott shares his progress on his Cyberpunk journey. I make a huge mistake in my attempts to tackle my gaming backlog. And on this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, we crown the best Xbox One game. All this and more on the Pixel Parents podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I am your host Liam Kirkkelvin, and today I am of course joined by the bearded one, Scott, the dice maker. Curry, how are we doing, Scott?
The dice maker. I'm alright. We're surviving another day.
Mm-hmm.
I've braved the stores who are now panic buying toilet paper and crisps to weather a 7-hour storm.
Yep.
Storm Eowyn, whatever it is.
Eowyn.
Fucking
You're
Welsh.
pretending.
The Welsh.
Pretending you don't know that's a Lord of the Rings character. I will not have it.
I didn't even know that.
The biggest Lord of the Rings fan here next to me.
That's disgusting. I'm just going to blame the Welsh for this storm because what a fucking pain in the arse. Everyone panicking over a wee bit of wind, you know?
I know. But aye.
It's just, it wouldn't be right without it. But no, apart from that, I'm alright. Took a day off work today to look after the vegan.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's been frazzled from her birthday
Mm-hmm.
and every single party and day out we've had since. So I think she just needed a day in the house because she was knackered. So we've watched every sad Disney movie that you could possibly think of. And, you know, I'm emotional now. I think I've got all the tears out. Coco broke me about 10 o'clock this morning.
God.
And Mama Coco, if you're out there, I remember you.
There's no way to not cry at that. It's devastating.
It is the build up to it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen the start of Coco. I always catch it right to the end.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
even I could watch that last scene where he sings to her and see the minute she starts singing back, I'm fucking gone.
Oh, God,
like
yeah.
goosebumps on my arse, tears in my eyes. Can't deal with it. And then we watched The Lion King, and like The Lion King's phenomenal anyway. But see that opening.
Oh, it's
The fucking, like, remember
majestic.
that we got drunk and we watched the opening of The Lion King about 14,000 times out in your back garden, and it just gets better every single time when that beam of light comes down. It's pure, when we find a place. It's just like,
it really is.
fucking
It's something
brilliant.
else, man.
Oh, but
Something
yeah,
else.
we watched that, and I had to explain the whole process of, you know, Mufasa dying and stuff, which was good. And now I'm here, ready to chat all things Xbox because, you know, they're doing better. And yeah, I'm here for it. How are you? This fine day?
I'm all right.
I didn't want to date this episode, by the way. Like, how are you? This
No.
fine?
It's very clear we're doing this the day before, the evening
Release.
before this goes live, because obviously on this show we're going to be talking about the Xbox Developer Direct, so we had to watch that first, didn't we?
did.
And, you know, it's through the magic of technology we get it there at 6 a.m. Things have we had originally planned to do it a different day this week, but just as well it didn't shake out that way because I had actually forgotten that my wife was going to a concert that night, so that would have been a disaster. She had a great time, which is great to see.
Who was it?
I can't remember. It was a country.
Some mad country. She's in her country phase at the moment.
She really is, yeah. But you know, more power to her. I think it's great to just kind of see these new interests still happen.
There's been a big boom in the whole country scene. I mean, I know this isn't a music podcast, but there's been a big boom in country music. I think I'm going to attribute that to Beyonce's recent album where she sang that country song, you know.
Maybe you're right.
Taylor Swift had absolutely nothing to do with it. You know, she had a country phase and she's now pissed off.
She abandoned the
flying
country.
over America, ruining the planet. She's so responsible for the entire storyline concept of Final Fantasy VII.
I think now's probably a good time to go after them, Scott. They're
Yeah.
probably distracted.
That's it.
But yeah, I think we might pull on that thread more
Ooh.
as it goes on.
Oh my God.
Because maybe I'm going through a bit of a country phase in a different way. Yeah, let me teeing it up.
Be locked them doors and turn the lights down low.
But yeah, bar that, it's yeah, we're kind of getting there towards the house move. Had to change a few plans about because of the storm this weekend, but to be honest with you, I'm not too fussed about it. But yeah, no, I'm delighted to be back and chat all things games, Xbox, you name it, ready to go. But before we do, we should probably get some housekeeping out the road, shall we? So, of course, for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents Podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming whilst raising little ones. If you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at pixelparents.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, you can leave a 5-star review and share this podcast online with your friends. That, of course, really helps us out. And thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. So, with that out of the way, Scott, do tell, what have you been playing this week?
I don't think it's much of a surprise after you ruined it in the opening of the show, but I have been playing nothing but Cyberpunk 2077.
You just love to hear it.
It is, it's a grower and a shower, you know.
Oh my!
It's definitely a bit of both.
Best of both worlds. Eh?
I don't have anything really to complain about. It's just I'm having a great time with it. I've done nothing in the story since. In fact, a lie. I think yesterday I met Takamura.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
That is the only thing I've done since.
That character design goes hard, man.
It's cool, man.
So hard.
Even especially now, it's just like fucking, you're hot as fuck. I like that shit. And I've done gigs for everyone. Like every single fucking gig is now done in this game. I think it's Rogue or whatever her name is. She's still firing stuff out at me here and there. Yep. But every other gig has been done. So I've got all the stuff on my stash and everything, and I've just been about collecting stuff, picking up all the tarot paintings and stuff like that, doing all the random wee things, hitting every single person that I see with a baseball bat. Like I know that I usually play as Sting in every single game, and I think I've taken this to new heights because I am running every person down with this baseball bat. It's
dropping from rafters.
It's amazing, honestly. It's just I'm having a great time with it. It's just a good laugh, and trying to navigate the whole process of I've done one mission actually out with the Takamura stuff where I had to go to a CD club. We'll say it that way, and it gives you an option of two. I don't know if that's for everyone, but it gives you an option of a male and a female doll, they call them, I think. And I picked the female, then it gave me the male. I was like, what the fuck is this? Maybe it knows me better than I know me.
Maybe it does.
Maybe Cyberpunk is, the awakening for everyone. But
just experiment, man.
I did, actually. Quite, awkwardly. I had to try and explain it to my wife. Is that like if our next door neighbours could see through our window and could see what I'm playing and see it at that moment, it's like
she's probably gave up at this point after walking into
Stellar Blade
and stuff like that.
That's true. That's very true.
It's like his room of depravity. What's on that screen now?
It's outrageous, but no, it's absolutely brilliant. I still hate the music in it. There's not one moment where I'm like, this music's good. It's a backdrop and it feels like it feels like a missed opportunity for them.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the music's very intentional to be that.
I think that's what it is. It's just noise in the background. Yeah. It's just everything is noisy.
It's very aggressive, like that kind of cyberpunk industrial type music.
Yeah.
Obviously ratcheted up to get more of a futuristic vibe to it. But I'm with you. Like it's not something I would listen to in my Spotify, but I know that it just matches. I suppose it's like if you're like playing something with a classical score, I'm not going to go listen to that in my day to day.
I mean, you would be more inclined to, not just like random fucking noises.
I don't know, man.
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. But it's been a surprising time for me. I think I've now hit over 20 hours in it.
Excellent.
And I don't see it slowing down. I'm excited to get through it more now. Like Johnny Silvertaint is fucking he's my favourite. And I can't touch on the big thing that happened because I almost turned it off and never turned it back on again. Just go back and reload a save where the bad thing didn't happen. But
Go back and listen to last week's episode. You'll know what he's talking about.
It's heartbreaking. And it was literally, I had paused it the moment it was about to happen. And it was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
I didn't want to say.
It was so bad.
I had to keep a poker face. I was like, I just can't tell him. I just can't.
Heartbreaking. I'm trying to think if there's been anything else. I played a Wii game after that. You know, I've kind of broken it up a wee bit for a couple hours. We got a game to review, and I've done that. But I'll tell everyone about that at some other point when I've finally got time to do it.
More on that when it's done.
Yes, when it's gestating. But it's a small game, and I think it's going to be one for the achievement hunters out there.
Oh, nice.
Like it is an easy platinum. I'll give you that. But I'm now looking at, you know, trophy guides and stuff for Cyberpunk. Like, very, very reasonable.
It's doable. I've considered it myself, but I've also just moved on. But it's a game that I will go back to routinely.
I'm just hoping that it continues. Like I've now got more RAM than I know what to do with. I've now got, you know, all the cyberware that I could potentially think I could want, and I'm like, how is this going to change as the game goes on? I'm expecting it will, but
it's more the quality.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. But I tell you this, just hitting people with baseball bats has never felt so good.
Yeah.
Like, I've never experienced such joy of just knocking people around with these baseball bats. And I like the fact that you've obviously got the cyber psychos in there as well, right? And I kind of thought that you would jump into that thing and you would just have a fight and that would be it. But you don't have to. Like, if you want to go in quietly and take them out straight away, you can do that. It doesn't force you into a fight that you don't want to do. So I kind of like that. And there's always something to do. Like,
there is, yeah.
It's, you go around the corners, there's a, you know, Night City PD fight going on. You just jump in there, smack everyone about, and then just steal whatever they're pulling me. So it's cool as fuck. I'm honestly, I'm really enjoying my time with it, which is telling because I know exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, I've not grown attached to any other characters because I didn't say anyone else's name.
Well, this is the thing. Cyberpunk's will be 5 years old this year, believe it or not. But it's still just 4. But because I still feel like it's got to get to its big wave of people still, and it's like through us spreading the good word, check this game out. And we should add, Scott doesn't like first-person games, so this is a big deal.
I'm telling you, this might be the Renaissance because it has got the juice.
It does.
And honestly, this is a game that I should fucking hate.
Yeah.
I think it does enough that it takes you to third person when you're driving if you want it to, so there's enough separation from it.
Yes.
You know, it's not like Indiana Jones where you're climbing up a wall, it'll give you a wee third person snippet. But
honestly, it might actually get you to stick with them more because that game has the juice. I don't think it's the intensity of Cyberpunk that has me like, oh, true, yeah.
I can jump over a wall, scud someone with a baseball bat, go and choke out someone else, shoot them in the head with a silenced weapon, and then I'm out.
Yeah,
and it's like,
make your own fun.
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's amazing.
Did you buy the complete edition?
I did. So Phantom Liberty is there, ready to go. But it's just the characters, man. Like,
CD Projekt Red, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Honestly, it just makes me even more excited for The Witcher because if they can do half of what they've done with Cyberpunk, like they're obviously going to take their time with The Witcher, and honestly, it's just going to be disgusting. Like the level of detail in Night City is ridiculous, but just a Witcher on that scale with that amount of personality and like vibrancy and populated and stuff, it's just going to be like, it's going to be incredible. And
with City, by the time you get to the end of The Witcher 3, man, you grow such an attachment. Obviously, Geralt's.
I mean, you'll find that out at the end of this year because The Witcher 3 is also on the list for this year.
So I gave you a very CD Projekt Red assignment for this year.
This is the CD Projekt Red year.
12 months. 12 months, so you're doing well. I've still got Devil May Cry 5 there waiting, locked and loaded, but I want to enjoy this. I want to just get in the headspace.
The thought of playing Devil May Cry 5 again as well.
Yeah.
See the music in that. See the minute you jump in. Oh, speaking of music,
I'm looking forward to it.
So good.
I'm looking forward to it.
So good.
But anything else you played at all?
I don't think so. I've kind of had thoughts of playing my Switch again, but I can't really be arsed. Every single time I'm turning anything on, it's Cyberpunk. Like even now, I'm thinking when I get home after this podcast, I think
Wee hour.
I might sneak in a wee hour here or there because I don't need to be up early to take the way into nursery because they're all closed.
Yeah.
So
lovely.
that's it. We should just put a random, the alert noise.
Oh,
We
Christ.
should put that on here now, so every single person that listening to it just shits himself.
I did earlier. It went off twice. I was like, Jesus
so
Christ.
bad, man. We're all dying. That's it. That's how we'll find out. Like if something bad's ever going to happen proper, they'll just send us a mad alert.
Oh, God, aye. Oh, God, I could just picture it as well. And we probably shouldn't joke about it because it was as close to that as we've ever been. But anyway, getting off that box. For myself this week. So, I'm sad to say
I'm
I
fucking buzzing for this.
completely
Buzzing for this.
fell off from Life is Strange, right? All thanks in part to an innocent conversation I had with a friend of the show, Clarky. So go check out Adventures with Clarky on YouTube as well. But he was asking me about the game. He listens to the show obviously as well, but we're just chatting as we do. And he's asked me about a game, if it's worth playing or not. I says, yeah, go for it. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to download that and play that. So I have went back, all the way back, to Red Dead Redemption 2, out of nowhere. And Scott, I'm on chapter 6 of this game already.
That's disgusting.
I have demolished it. It took me about 6 weeks maybe to get that far the first time round. I'm done it in a week. And I know I'm very close to the ending chapters of this, close to the epilogue, I should say. My God, man. My God. I think it's very easy to take for granted what Rockstar had achieved when they made this game now. And I have to say, in the years that have passed, there's been a lot more, like it was too slow, it was monotonous, whatever. And I get it. Each to their own, absolutely. But it's an old-timer. Like, I don't actually find it. At first, when I went in, it was a bit jarring.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's not actually too slow. If anything, the thing that I appreciate more about it is that it commands player interaction. Your hands need to be on that controller all the time, which means that I'm guilty of doing it. I can't second screen.
Yeah.
So whenever there's stuff coming up, so I'll just have a wee look, see what's happening over here.
Yeah, it's true.
Can't do that. And they have made a masterpiece. Now, I won't, because I know Clark could be listening to this, and other people might not have finished the story because it's long.
Yes.
It is long. So I won't ruin what happens. But if you have played it, you know there's certain story beats. Some are larger beats than others. And let me tell you, they hit just as hard when you're going through it again. And if anything, you can see the foreshadowing and leading up to events in the game. And there's a mechanic in there that I recently discovered. So obviously there's a morality system in the same way with the first one. And depending on how good or bad you are. So when you're playing as Arthur, every now and then it will kind of just have a little kind of pause in between missions and you'll be dreaming. And he'll sometimes dream of the deer at the lake. But he might also dream of a wolf. And it looks, and it's all very cinematic, gorgeous. And I didn't realise that was all because of how you were in the morality system.
Oh,
so
cool.
if you were good, you get the deer. Tailing towards the bad end, you get the wolf or the coyote, one of the two. Doug, I don't know. But you get that. And I'm going through it. And I remember playing it the last time when we first got it, playing it on my old LED. Yeah, my old LED TV, which was 4K. It was great, it looked amazing, but playing it now on the OLED, oh my God.
Disgusting.
Like,
absolutely disgusting.
and I'm playing this and all the time I'm thinking, what are they going to do with GTA 6? Because it is as photorealistic a game as you could really ask for. Like it demands that you drink it in. It's jaw-dropping at points. I must say, this playthrough I've noticed a couple of like millisecond little bugs of like a T-pose had popped up the other day, and like the sunset and sunrise went by in like 2 seconds. It was really jarring, but bar that, once you get back into the flow of it and just like living as a cowboy, I'm sitting there like getting bowls of stew and eating it, and it's like this has no advantage to me.
Putting on pomade,
yeah, exactly.
It's like ridiculous. Like the stuff that you would do in it, like brushing your horse and shit like that. It's
yes,
like, why am I doing this?
brushing the horse, feeding it.
It's just that's the life. That's the
Getting
life you
your trim.
choose.
Oh, man.
It was an experience the first time, and it's one that I am honestly fucking buzzing to go back to. Like,
Yeah.
I'm dying to get back to playing it. It's also, with you talking about it, it's made me more keen to go back and play the original as well. Because obviously, was it remastered it recently? So
I'm weighing it up, but I'm also conscious of the year of the backlog.
I know, but I kind of feel like I'm on this Rockstar journey, so I think I might have to. You know,
I mean, I'm lucky I've got a digital version of it on my Xbox. I got it in the 360 days. I think I might have picked it up in a sale donkeys ago. So I can go back and play the original. But I was wondering if the remaster was worth it, but I'll need to go and read up on it to see what improvements they made, because if it is just a little bit of a sharper resolution, I can live without that, to be honest.
It's disgusting. And, you know, going from Grand Theft Auto 5, like, sometimes you look at Michael's face in it and it's like, there's something a wee bit off with the way you look, like, and then go from that to Arthur Morgan. It's like night and day, and like,
it's phenomenal.
It's just, if the characters in Grand Theft Auto 6 look anything like that, it's an old timer. Like, this has the potential to be. I think when you look at the Grand Theft Autos over the years, what is the Grand Theft Auto like? Is it 5?
For me, it's 5. I mean, I know nostalgia. If I'm voting with nostalgia, you're going to say Vice City or San Andreas, depending on the time of day, if I'm honest. But for me, in all honesty, nothing achieved a sense of space and place like GTA 5.
And just in terms of like success.
Oh, God, yeah. Juggernaut.
5. So 5 is the Grand Theft Auto, but I think 6 has the potential to be fucking astronomical. It has to, but I think it's just...
That's the game everybody goes out and plays. You know, and I suppose Red Dead had that success off the back of people know it's the guys that make Grand Theft Auto, and it's a very different game. What I will say, what's so masterfully done about it is the cinematic quality and how they've really upped the game. And we know it took a lot of, you know, blood, sweat and tears to make that, and a bit of unsavoury crunch. But what they have created there is truly, like, special. Like, the themes that they touch on in this story that they're telling, you know, of an outlaw gang in the last days of the dying West, I suppose, and the journey they go through, the different kind of edges of the states. It is, and just seeing them, the mix of the characters either scheming, changing who they're going on a real arc of being, like, you know, a visionary to someone that becomes more depraved, or losing their faith in their complete lifestyle, or that they themselves are becoming extinct. It is tremendous stuff, and it's so subtly done, but it's everything in that world's feeding into it. So it's the environment, the lighting, the music goes so hard that I didn't appreciate it as much the first time, but there's a constant sense of anxiety and dread and melancholy all the way through this. And it's not, you know, Clint Eastwood Western is kind of what the original Red Dead was, even though it did have one of the best musical moments ever with Jose Gonzalez. But it is absolutely masterful. And I've just got this. It's not that I didn't appreciate it. I think I took it for granted because I consumed it so fast the first time round.
That's probably it.
And now, in the years gone past, I've probably heard more Red Dead 2 hate, or just, you know, sniders towards it. Yeah. And it's like, do you know what? This game more than deserves the applause, you know, and it's loving it.
It's less of a Grand Theft Auto clone.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's more of a story. It's not actually like, it doesn't feel like a game. It's more story based. Like, even just the random things that you do in it, they all have purpose. Like when you go and get drunk in that one thing, and it's like there's a reason for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so cool. I'm honestly, it's the game that I'm looking forward to going back to most, and it's the one that it'll be the hardest platinum to get, but it's the one that I'm honestly buzzing to do, because I remember in that game where I was showing my nephews who are now 15 that game, and like, they would come over to the house and I was showing me trying to catch like bears and like taking down like deer and stuff like that on my horse, and it's like, this is just pure boring stuff for them, do you know? But it's outrageous. It's outrageous how good it is.
It's engrossing, and the pace, I don't think it would have worked if it was just that wee bit quicker.
Yeah.
And it's something that I definitely appreciate. And it's not going to be for everybody. If you're wanting GTA, go play GTA. This isn't, like you said, it's not GTA in the West, but give it its due. Stick with it. It is absolutely wonderful. But I won't touch on the story stuff because that's the best part, to be honest with you. But it's not all been all games. I've also, been dabbling in Balatro as per.
Of course.
Marvel Snap went down in the US for a few days, which I was obviously like...
Trump's America, boo!
I know, just kind of like, for Christ's sake, here we go. But
I've said that out loud now, so we're going to get...
No, I'm not. I've
swatted,
made a promise.
Swatted by the FBI.
I know, that's it. We'll get cancelled via Diet Coke button. But I've also noticed this week, or tonight, Assassin's Creed Shadows, the previews have all dropped.
Oh, they've been very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are talking about the...
What did I say?
I know, but I still think that the critics' view and,
we don't need
the wider populace's view. Tell me, if we get a copy of that for free, I'll fucking play it. I'm telling you, Ubisoft, I'll start singing your praises, Eve.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Until you get Splinter Cell out, I'm still public enemy number one. But give me a copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I'll be your best pal.
Well, of course. Well, and also if we do, we'll view it with a critical lens. But
I won't.
The new cinematic story trailer came out today. Looks great. I'm all in.
People are saying it's more Shogun-like.
Yes.
Which is a show I haven't watched.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched it?
Nope.
It's one that I want to go and watch, but I like the guy in it.
It looks good, but I find it so hard to commit to TV, especially, I suppose we're putting so much time into games.
It's true.
So I'm like, I could be playing a game instead of watching the telly. So we make our choices.
Yeah.
We make our choices. But maybe one day, maybe that could be a good thing to tee us up into the mood. Or maybe after playing Shadows, might watch it. For engrossing ourselves, because as I've warned everybody, I'm going to be playing that until I platinum it, which means I could be there a while.
So I'll play every other game in the meantime then. I'll still be talking about...
Go platinum Valhalla. God. It's great, honestly. The sad thing about it is that you get the best weapon in the game as the platinum pops. Great.
Well, that's good.
Fantastic.
Is that your reward for like 100% in it?
I mean, to be fair, you could have did it a different way, but the way it goes, it's more likely you're going to get that at the end. It's like 140 hours or something I put into that game. It was mental. Anyhow, but that's been everything that we've played. But there's been, obviously, as we mentioned at the start of the show, today we also got the Xbox Developer Direct. So I thought it would be fun just to kind of, before we go into the main topic, just to kind of share some reactions to that. We won't linger on it too long because the main topic should take up the real meat and potatoes.
See, for the thumbnail of this podcast, I've already said what I want it to be, right? But we should also have like one of us doing like a reaction image of being like pure YouTube thumbnail nonsense.
If you send me a picture of yourself and do it, that's fine. I've got no photo rule.
Take it off my blue sky.
I think we can do that. But of course, we did have that. It was live. It'll be available on YouTube now. Or Xbox, they had set the date a few weeks ago. It's coming, and it was going to be 4 games on show. Developer updates, funnily enough. And I have to say, the production, once again, is best in class.
Yes.
They nail this so hard every time recently, especially over the past year. Take notes, Jeff Keighley. But of course, it's all from Xbox Game Studios Publishing. So I think probably best to go through one by one.
Indeed.
Talk about what was there. I'm going to get your hot reactions, Scott. And we can talk about it at all.
Okay.
So first up was, and we didn't know this going in, was Team Ninja. And of course, they were there to show off something very special. Very special, Scott.
See, before you tell the viewers what it was, is there something to be said but when it said Xbox Game Studios Publishing? I mean, has that been something that's been there before? Because I don't remember ever seeing this before.
It's been there before, but it's not something that's been there a while. But yeah,
because it just shocked me. Like, it wasn't Team Ninja. That was what they're leading with, because obviously, what they're talking about is coming out on other consoles. What we probably should add is actually the thing that they put before that was probably one of the most important messages of the whole thing, which is all games shown today will be on Game Pass day one. Day in. And immediately,
was like, oh, yeah, beauty.
Thank fuck.
I have Game Pass.
Thank fuck. That's what I'm like, because I had earmarked some of these games for.
I mean, that's like
the
£240 worth of games.
Indeed.
You buy
For
Game
free?
Pass
For
the year.
free?
Aye, for free. Just subscribe. So effectively, I mean, for a year's worth of Game Pass, you're getting that plus everything else. True. Excellent deal. But anyway, I digress. So we had Team Ninja in collaboration with Platinum Games.
Amazing.
They were there to announce Ninja Gaiden 4. Scott, just those words alone.
Just Ninja Gaiden anyway. You know, just seeing it come back and not in 2D form with the one that's coming out. But
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Just from the initial character reveal, it was like, that's Ninja Gaiden.
Aye.
Like, that's fucking Ninja Gaiden. Even though you saw Team Ninja and you saw the waves and all that, you're like, that's Ninja Gaiden. But it was just, if you could have picked any other studio to help you make a Ninja Gaiden game, do you know what I mean? Platinum's like, of course they're going to make it. It's like, of course, like, match made in heaven. Every single moment that I watched in it, just it was so unbelievable. Like,
yeah,
this is just dream stuff. Like how fast the characters move. Like, because obviously you get Ryu, Hayabusa's there, but there's a rival clan member or something like that. Was it Yakuno or something from the Raven clan?
I do have the information here from Xbox.
You can see
Wire.
that then.
Probably best. Do you want me
Aye.
to go more into that? So of course, as everything you mentioned there. So Ninja Gaiden 4, the first new mainline entry in 13 years. This is coming, of course, from Xbox Wire. So it's going to be a direct sequel. It's positioned as a direct sequel to Ninja Gaiden 3. Of course, maintaining the dark and gritty world the series is known for. Players will take on the role of a new protagonist, Yakumo, and they're saying here a significant amount of time has passed since Ninja Gaiden 3, so players are going to find themselves arriving in a gruesomely transformed Tokyo. One of the key themes of the story is the return of the Dark Dragon, which has plunged the city into chaos. Within these unsettling conditions, Yakumo will have to face off against his foes, as well as the formidable Master Ninja himself, Ryu Hayabusa.
Oh, well done.
So they're introducing a new protagonist.
Which any other people would be like, nah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he looked cool as fuck, and his moveset and stuff like that just looked incredible. It was the pace of it all.
Aye.
Like, it was how quick it was moving. Like, there was moments in it I was like, this is just, you know, Xbox version or Team Ninja's version of Stellar Blade. Do you know what I mean? Like, it felt the two of them together would just be like, you know, exactly. But it was the pace of it all. Like, it was just like, this is disgusting. If this moves anything like that in real life, it's going to be like, you're going to have to put epilepsy warnings. It's just this absolute pure Japanese TV show. The one thing I took away from it, and any Ninja Gaiden fan will agree with me on this, but Azuna drops, the best thing to ever exist. Like, taking those characters up in midair and launching them down their head, it never gets old. Never gets old.
I mean, they did say that the combat's at a breakneck speed, I think was the exact words they used.
See it to believe it, honestly, because
yeah, it's definitely worth checking the trailer. I mean, it was absolutely fucking gorgeous. Even like the finishing moves and that mixed in with the world looked sensational. What we've done on it, and the combat, yeah, you're just like, just hook this.
Yeah, what
right
they're saying,
into our veins.
and what they're saying is that they want to try and retain that level of challenge with it as well. Like,
yes.
Ninja Gaiden,
Hard.
at its core, it's fucking, it's brutal. And it's so hard. I don't think I've ever finished one of them.
No,
but it's just looking at it, it's like, if that came out this moment, I would drop everything and play it.
Well,
which
funny you should say
funny
that,
I should
Scott.
say that.
Because there was a one more thing from Team Ninja where they had announced that Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is of course going to be a, I suppose, was it a remaster? I say the fair way to put it.
Aye.
Let me
on Unreal Engine 5.
Unreal Engine 5, you are correct. That is out today on Xbox Game Pass.
It's disgusting.
Outrageous.
Eating good. We're eating good, and that was the first foot. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the first step into this, and you're hitting us with Ninja Gaiden. 2 Ninja Gaiden games. Do you know what I mean? Like, just one of them, I'd have been happy with just 4.
Yeah,
But Ninja Gaiden 2, like that is beloved. Like everyone loves Ninja Gaiden 2. So I think it's just funny that they've remade it after they re-released all the Ninja Gaiden games previously, like in the last few years. So, but ho hum, you know.
I mean,
it's a franchise that everyone loves, and it's nice to see that they're coming back with it.
In terms of a way to kick off the show was such a surprise in January. I thought it was fantastic, and then just to have that little tea sweetener of it's available today, because I was fully expecting this to be like it's coming in March. I think we all were. And I should add as well, Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming in fall of this year, which ain't far at all. So we've got plenty of time to try and beat Ninja Gaiden 2 in the meantime. So yeah, it was a great way to kick things off. But they then moved on to the second game, which was, so everything else here we knew going into it. Team Ninja was a surprise developer of the day. And we moved on to Compulsion Games, where they give us a bit of a deep dive into South of Midnight. Scott, in general, what was your thoughts on this whilst I dig up some information on this?
Oh God, throw me under the bus. It's a game that initially shown it looked interesting, and I think that everything we've heard about it in terms of sort of preview events and everything have all sort of said the same thing. But it was nice to just let it have its time in the sun and just let people see what they're trying to do and let the team talk about it. I think that's the thing with the developer direct, is that you take more from the enthusiasm of these people talking about it.
Absolutely.
Like, you get to see the love and care and attention that they're putting into it. Like, listening to the girl with red hair, I can't remember her name, but she was just talking about how they went about making these characters and you know, going down the folklore of the Deep South and everything. Like, it's just like all these mad characters. But the one thing I took away from it was just like, it looks fucking gorgeous. Like,
it really does.
It looks incredible for a game with that art style. You could have really, really buggered that up.
Yeah.
But it just looks excellent. I'm not 100% taken with the kind of frame thing, you know, the kind of Miles Morales kind of thing. But I think that I was watching someone kind of reacting to it on stream, and they were saying that you can turn it off.
All right, okay.
So you don't have to play it in that. Don't take that as an exclusive here, because I've not got a Scooby if that's correct. But I, as I say, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. But I just thought the characters in it, the main character as well, doesn't seem annoying. Like, it could have been Forspoken. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's it. Yeah,
very chatty and like really annoying. But the characters around them and the world around it seems to be what they're focusing on rather than the main character.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
They've kind of gone about it the right way. I'm not 100% sure again about how I feel about the combat in it as well. I felt like the wee guy who was talking about the guy who was talking about the combat was explaining it, and it didn't make sense as he was explaining it, and then showing it on the screen didn't make sense either. I think it feels like one of those games where it will only make sense when it's in your hands and you're actually getting a shot at it. Do you know what I mean? But
I think you're right.
For what we show for what they've shown of it, it just like to come off of that Ninja Gaiden, you know, preview, and then this, it felt like it fit. Like, it didn't feel out of place.
Yeah, it did.
And it, you know, as I say, it looked amazing. Like,
it did. I mean, I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I know it looks better than before, and even at the first time we were talking about it after the Xbox Direct, and we were very much like, this is something that looks like we're very much interested in. I think you can see that the time that they're spending on it, they've cooked and they've polished it. With you, art style, yes, looks amazing. And that stop motion style, I think you can pretty much guarantee 100% this is going to be the next YouTuber grifter moan game for sure.
Yeah.
But fuck them. I also think what I noticed I liked about it is there'll be some slight platforming to explore the world. And the comparison for me was, I think this is going to be the probably, I hate to say AAA, but the more quality polished version of like last year's Flintlock Siege of Dawn.
Right, okay.
Because that was the most AA game I've played in some time. Really lacked polish, but they had something there. But this one looks like it's getting all that extra bit, and it's exciting to have games like this where it's came out of nowhere. It's new, it's fresh, it feels exciting. It's like, and this is what Xbox have been needing. It's like, if this was in the PlayStation showcase, I would feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
Which is, this is something cool and exciting.
That's
So
it. It doesn't feel like a place on either. It wouldn't feel like a place on either side, and it does what we've been asking for in terms of the industry as a whole, is just like innovation. Do you know what I mean? Like, every single game is a Souls-like now. Every single game is a is a a roguelike. It's just like every single game is this, whereas this is just showing something a wee bit different. Like, it's cool. As I say, I'm not taking my parts of it, but that's just because I've not seen it in action yet. So
I'm with you. It's one that we'll know when we get our hands on it. And we will on the 8th of April. That's the launch day, which is awesome. I should also add, there's something else in there that they revealed that I thought was fucking fantastic, is that when you're taking on the boss battles, they've weaved the music into the action. So the longer this fight goes on, the music crescendos up, and it kind of intensifies as the action intensifies with you. I thought that's such a cool touch. And again, like you say, it's just that little touch of innovation, just that little bit of thoughtfulness goes such a long way. It's definitely worth checking out the trailer. Like, they touched on the story from it. From that, you see the protagonist Hazel and the mother, they're preparing for a hurricane. There's a storm that comes, and in its aftermath, you kind of see Mum's not there anymore, and she starts her journey.
She dead.
Yeah, she is. But it looks like they've really captured that vibe of, like it says, deep south United States. Bayou and all that stuff.
Bayou born.
What in the gumbo's this? But yeah, it's it looks fantastic. There's a giant talking catfish.
There is, and there's other big animals there as well.
There is indeed. But April 8th, get ready. And we move on to the next one. And we moved then on to Sandfall Interactive with Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a brand new turn-based RPG that will be launching in April 24.
Same day as Mark of the Bulls.
Oh, right, okay.
Fighting game.
I also meant to add, I had the line there earlier for Ninja Gaiden 4. I forgot it in my notes, I forgot to say, Scott will eat this like cake. But there you go. That's all I had down.
What am I? What's her name again? Let them eat cake?
Let them eat cake? Oh, I can't remember.
Pause the podcast. We need to figure this out. What was her name again?
If it comes back to you, or whilst you're chatting in the fly,
I'll Google it. You can read the stuff.
Okay, I'm going to vamp for a little bit. But anyhow, we've got Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So this is a brand new turn-based RPG. The cards on the table, the persona influence is clear as hell. It smacks you over the head. Very stylish approach. As we mentioned before, this looks new. It looks fresh.
Yes.
It looks cool. Even I am excited to check this out because I'm really digging those steampunk French fantasy vibes that's going on in it. I really do think that another example of something we've seen before, you see it again now with that layer of polish, and they have cooked. They have, and I'm like, everybody, the buzz, the chatters, I've all saying the same thing. This is a Game of the Year contender by the looks of it. If they pull this off, I think the one thing that will let this down, because it looks like a very complex and large game, is if this launches and it's not got like memeable bugs, which is a risk because it's the first game, then that's the thing. But this looks like it's something really special.
Yeah. I mean, I think from initial showings, I was excited about it in the first place because it has enough of kind of Persona, like, has a wee bit of the whole, like the combat system sort of reminds me of the old Lost Odyssey game.
Yep.
Back in the 360 era, where it's a bit more, it's a what do you call them? It's a turn-based. What do you call them? Fucking things. What do you call that kind of fighting thing? It's a.
I'm just watching them squad.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's one of those games. And in Lost Odyssey, you would press buttons and it was active, so you were doing stuff as the combat was taking place.
Yes.
And this seems to have that as well, and it seems to work sort of in a similar way in terms of attacking and defending. The characters are all hot as fuck though. Like
yes, like not an ugly one among them.
France is an attractive place, but I'm sure there's some uggers in there.
No. The home of fashion. Come on.
The home of fashion. But this game is it's ridiculous looking, like the atmosphere in it. It was mad. And do you know what? They've leaned enough into the weird parts of it as well. Like you see
Yes.
some of the weird, like the guy, the art director's talking about, you know, he wanted to make a monkey with a flat mask on, and he just made a monkey with a flat mask. It's like that's definitely a monkey with a flat mask.
He had a good energy, that art director, in the presentation.
You can see the reason why the game looks like this.
Yeah,
because of, you know, people like that. With the kind of the parts of it that was a bit like, what the fuck is going on here? Was you had like a wee world map, and you would sort of traverse around this world map with this weird flying character, ball guy. It's like I didn't anticipate this at all. I was just thinking, you know, third person open world, and you would just traverse it and do certain things. It'd be really sort of linear, but this seems to be like the kind of key point of it was the guy said, look, there's hard boss battles in this game, but you have to find them. And it's like, that is what every fucking person wants.
Oh yeah.
Like the people out there who want to speedrun this game or really want to show off in this game will seek that out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what makes these games great. Like, and I think the story in it, like, that's not what I was anticipating.
That was
at all.
So good to hear that they've put a lot of care and attention into how these characters work.
Yeah.
And not just a single, like the main character narrative, they've really put a lot of work into how these characters interact.
Because they were saying that they all have their own, every single character has their own sort of branching path, like their sort of own arc and stuff as well. They all have their own skill trees. They've got one of the menus showed off like like a million choices, and it's like, oh my god,
yeah. What was
like that was overwhelming. It's like boosters or something like that, or
Pictos,
it was like,
or Lumina passive abilities. It was
passive abilities. It was like
it was
4,000 of them. It was like the Path of Exile skill tree, but it was just.
I really do think that this does look like it's going to be something special.
Yeah.
The buzz around it beforehand has been great. I mean, it's also like, it's a look at it has all the elements there to get people to go, I'm going to check that out, even if you're not into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is, I mean, I should also add it's coming to PlayStation 5 as well. This is,
and that's a good thing for it all.
Very good thing.
Like, it's not. I think that you run the risk of, you know, you're talking about Game of the Year, but then Astrobot won it. Fuck that. Forget what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter. I was going to say, look, tying it into one console seems to kind of would make it harder for it to get to sort of Game of the Year nominations, but Astrobot did just win Game of the Year. So what do I know?
Well, I suppose, but I mean, I get the point you're making. I think with them, it's a smart because obviously it's a debut from this studio. It'll mean more sales. It means if there is a success, more people will play it, and then they can hopefully do more cool things. But this, I haven't seen a game like this that is generating this level of buzz out the blue in some time, and that can only be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can only be a good thing. So I think, let's get more of that, please.
More mustaches in games.
More mustaches in games, please.
Like the Order 1886.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I almost said 1888. 1886 was.
They shouldn't have let it die.
Yeah, they shouldn't have let it die, but that was the apex, apex of mustaches. Like, more mustaches in games.
Yeah.
And the cast in this. Fucking Charlie Cox.
Yes.
Andy Serkis. Ben Starr. He's in it as well. Like, I don't know anyone else because he's the only three I can remember, but the cast is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think of the money they're throwing at this fucking thing.
I think they know they're onto something.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. We're not far off it. We're only about 3 months away.
Buzzing, man.
This will definitely, if you have Game Pass, it looks like a must play. Yeah, so clear the decks.
This was one of the games on my 4 games this year I was going to buy, and then I remembered it was on Game Pass. So it was like...
And that's the thing. All the way watching this, keep reminding myself that. It's like, this is on Game Pass. This is great.
And, you know, can't remember if... Did Ninja Gaiden 4, did they say fall 2024?
Fall 2025, yeah.
2025, so they're all coming this year.
Exactly.
Like...
Exactly.
Everyone's a winner, baby.
It was superb.
That's the truth.
We, of course, finished on the main course, the one that the masses will, of course, be more familiar with, which is Doom the Dark Ages, which is coming on May 15th. Now, Scott, I think you had to step out at this point, didn't you?
Yeah. My wife and my mother-in-law were having a very panicked chat about Storm.
Well, let me fill you in. So that's going to be prequel to Doom 2016. This sci-fi fantasy world, so please inject it. So they did a really cool shot side by side with original Doom, just to kind of show in essence how the gameplay is the same. And it's again something you could be like, oh, but maybe the original was a bit different. It's not. And that strafing style combat is still here. It just looks phenomenal. Like, Doom's always been a looker since 2016 anyway. I'd do wondrous things, but this game, it knows it fully understands its identity, what it's here to do, and they were kept saying all the things that you're expecting from it. So there's so they focused on a few things to start. So the first one was this new shield that you've got, the shield saw. You can block, you can parry, you can deflect, and you can throw it, all with the same button input. So it's very contextualized. They said that basically in the Doom Eternal, you were a fighter jet, from what I remember. And in this one, you're a tank. So it's, as opposed to them wanting you to jump and kill, they're wanting you to stand and fight in this game. And they're really wanting to put you face to face with some of these big ass demons. Now, you might be thinking, what is that? It's still fluid. You're still moving. Right. But you're just more on that ground level. So I think it's their own way of saying...
They're just trying to like put us on ground.
Yeah, part of the verticality.
Part of the joy of Doom is it not just running about mental and jumping about like an arsehole?
It is, but Eternal took it to literal new heights.
Right, okay.
So that's all it was. But I mean, so they were talking all about the combat and that. They also showed off there's 3 new melee options, again with one input. They'll just try to keep it nice and fun, slick. You've got things like a mace. So at this point, I'm just drilling, right? I'm just drilling watching this. Then it then cut to like, it was unintentional, but then they started to then show about the guns that they've got in there. A huge variety of kind of old and new and like torture-based ones like they've seen in the old trailer with the skull that just shoots out shards. And the gunfire is lining up with the double bass metal music that's playing over the top. And I'm like, at this point, I'm just a puddle, right? Absolutely fantastic. They've added a new glory kill system. The music just sounds perfect. Like, it's always been a highlight, but they really do have woven in some medieval vibes as well. Oh man, it's just metal, the game. If you're a metal fan, if you're a shooter fan, the thing is I loved about Doom, and always have, but particularly since the kind of reboot series, is that they really have turned this into like white knuckle adrenaline. Like the game, playing it as a release. That's the only way I can describe it. You just go in, run about, blare the music in some headphones. What they're wanting to do as well is they've said that this is a good thing. That this is they've described it as a summer blockbuster event. So exactly what I wanted to hear. So they're not going to take it too serious. They're also not going to treat it too goofy. They want it to be bombastic, entertaining, in and out, the metal concert game, effectively. There's some other cool things they showed off as well, make your head spin, so you can access a 30-story Atlan mech and fight titans. It looks insane. There's also a cybernetic dragon that you can wield as well. They have added so much into this. And the one of the best things that should please a lot of people, because I know some people might have had a bit of difficulty playing Doom, they've added some new accessibility options to
that's good.
Slow it down or speed it up, so you can tweak the difficulty and the experience. So basically you can have the Doom that you want, which I think is a fantastic thing for both from accessibility and just from player choice perspective as well. It just everything about this, I was just like, yes. And even though this was a known quantity going in, it's been long enough since Doom Eternal, again, almost 5 years.
It's also been a while since we've seen it.
Yeah, it has been. It's it just looks fucking fantastic. And again, day one on Game
Pass. That's the kind of thing, is that you're not going to burn yourself if you try it.
No, you're not. You're going to have fun.
Aye, so
I should add as well, though, because I'm watching this in the kitchen, and my son comes in the kitchen, I'm like, where you go? It's like just skulls blowing up and all that. Like, you can't see this, it's scary. And Daddy, why do you look so excited? I'm like, metal. But it does. I was so hyped watching it. I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. It's going to just be, I'll sit down with it for 20 hours, I'll have a blast, and then move on. That's all it needs to be. And
that's all it needs to be, aye.
The fact that it's on Game Pass as well, man, just perfect. And that wrapped everything up. I should say, it was an absolutely fantastic presentation. If I had to score it, I would honestly give it a 10, just because I had a surprise, clearly communicated what you're getting ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't over stuff. 4 games all coming out within this year.
Yeah.
Nice and polished deep dives to spend some time.
Not first half of this year because
Fall.
fall.
I know, but most of them first half.
Gaiden, yeah.
As I said, Jeff Keighley should take notes. I really do think the reason why these are so good is they use the quality over quantity. Less is more.
Yeah.
And I think all of these gaming presentations need to take that approach. I love the kind of old school VDoc approach, like you mentioned earlier, sitting with the developers, listening to them geek out about what they've made.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear from them. I want to hear the story behind the studios and see
true.
them in their place of work. I think that's always so welcome, and that sells the game. We know games are having a bit of a marketing problem these days anyway. You look at the news yesterday with EA and Dragon Age the Veilguard and FC25 underperforming, and games just need to be marketed a little bit differently. But that being said, this was a fantastic presentation. Didn't overstay its welcome. Go check out the trailers if you don't want to watch the full thing. Oh, there's some very cool games coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. That's what I took away from this. It was there's reason to be excited for this year. Do you know, like it kind of felt like last year where we got to January and February, it was like, what are we playing now? Apart from Final Fantasy, what's coming up? And then everything just hit all at the same time.
I love that.
It's class for this, and yeah, there was variety there.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about that previously in terms of variety, and every single game on this list were completely different, and that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't. There's a lot of games there that probably weren't traditionally, as you say, an Xbox game.
That's
which is cool.
That's what you want.
Doom,
that's what you want.
But that should lead us nicely onto our main topic, Scott.
Get the red hats out.
Get the green hats out. Of course, this topic this week is make Xbox great again. Of course, we're having a bit of fun with what's happening in the geopolitical world out there. But
no arm signals on this podcast, though.
No, absolutely
definitely not a Nazi salute.
Yeah, he's a fucking dweeb. But of course, we are here to talk about video games. We're not here to talk about billionaire VLs and sweet potato grifters. So, following on from that, what I would say is an excellent developer direct. We want to just have we probably check in with Xbox every few months. What do Xbox need to make them the big kahuna success again? Not that they're failing, but what do we need them just to elevate themselves, to make them great? The parts are there, as we've always said. How do we get them in play? Now, of course, Scott, I've added a little bit of, what's the word? Trussing around the conversation, because I'm also aware we have had some epic podcasts of late, and I just want to make sure that we keep things in a timely manner this week. So I do promise that.
This is him politely telling me to shut up.
No, not at all. I'm telling myself to shut up because I waffle. So first of all, I think the starting point for this, Scott, is taking a look just at general, an overview of where we think Xbox is at. So, would you like to kick this one off?
No.
Okay. Just in general as to why we're talking
about them. They're kind of in a weird place at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that looking at the marketing and the campaign of everything as an Xbox is fantastic, but that's good for people who don't already own an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the people who own an Xbox going to be doing with this console they now have? And what they've done today with the developer direct is a good start to showing them what's coming up.
Yeah.
And I think having this conversation after the direct, I would have been having a different conversation pre-direct in terms of they needed to show more of the games that are actually coming up. Like, I have the same issue with PlayStation and Nintendo in terms of we have no idea what's coming, but with Xbox they've kind of made a good start in it, and I think that through the year we'll see more and more of these. I'd rather they just did this every few months and just say, look,
they should.
This is what we're cooking up. Like, I don't need to see Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond and the Booty Man kicking about. Like, that's the only reason I know his name is because I call him the Booty Man. And I shouldn't have to know those three. Like, those should be unknown entities to me. But we've seen them every single minute of every single day for the last 2 years, trying to make up for all the failings of Xbox and people getting cut and closures and shit. So it's like, it's nice to see that they seem to be taking a step back in all this. But I think just more of the same at the moment. Just shows the games that are coming, and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's a good point as any to, because we're in January, it's the start of the year, and for so long, as we've mentioned time and again, we're waiting on Xbox to play their hand. Like we've always said, the dominoes are there. They've got everything. They've got the aces. They just need to go. The chips need to go all in. However you want to word it. We even discussed this in a predictions episode a few weeks ago, didn't we? And then we had the big Xbox chat last year. But I feel like now it's really good as we head into this year because of this developer direct. And I think this is the year. I really do still think that they're going to get their shit together. I really do, because I feel that there's something that changed very recently about it, and I've constructed my points to you, and I shall in a minute. But after the developer direct, I think I'm with you, which is me personally. I'm more confident in them, not to be like, oh man, they're going to smash us, but I feel like, do you know what? There's some good vibes here, and that's all we need. You know, feeling good about it.
It feels like in a game of blackjack, like. If I'm Xbox, I've got a 20, I've got two kings sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
But you've also got a king on the other end. Like you're holding a queen. I don't know what that other card is. It's like I'm going to win. I think I'm going to win. I've got good odds at winning, but you might put over an ace or a queen or something. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just it feels nice to be excited about what Xbox are doing again. I think that's it for me. It's nice to be excited about it and have reason to turn this console on.
100%. And I think, you know, the signs there that it's happening. But I think in terms of making them great again, you know, I've got a manifesto.
A manifesto?
Yes, to make them great again.
This is Liam's job application for Xbox.
This is, please hire me, mate. But unlike, of course, the man over there with the very bad hair and the tech VLs, mine's is going to happen, right? So I think to really kick things off here, I think we'll go back and look at last year. The pendulum had shifted. You know, it didn't quite fully swing, but it shifted. It showed signs of going in the right direction. So we know Xbox isn't going to be on PlayStation or Nintendo's level, at least for now. I think last year we'll look back on as being significant in terms of jump-starting what the future of Xbox is, but it becoming an exciting place to play games again. And the one thing they needed, they got. They didn't get in spades, but they got it, which was games. Ones that everybody played and ones that critics loved. Right, there's the two things that you need. They've lacked that on a consistent basis for so long now. And of course, we've got to talk about Black Ops 6.
Yes. So
I feel that was a crowning glory for Game Pass. It was a culmination of the acquisitions. I mean, they spent a few pennies on it. I don't know if you knew. And it was the first one to be released on that service day and date. Ended up being a set of records for Game Pass subscribers in a single day, and it was COD's biggest ever launch. So I mean, you can't not call that a success.
Call that a success.
Obviously, they're going to factor in other platforms as well. But so that kind of got in the masses, right? Got the casuals, but then you've got the hardcore, the numpties, the mug punters like us, and you've got the likes of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, right? Now I know you want your cup of tea, but you would also admit it was a critical darling.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they needed that so bad. I feel that even though it's coming to other platforms right now, it's still an Xbox exclusive, right? And it felt significant after Hellblade 2 really polarized us, polarized everybody else. And that at that time, if you go back to listen at the time, it's like, man, this was supposed to be it.
Yeah.
And it felt so far away. And all it took was these two things to push them, just nudge them. It's not like everything's solved, but I feel like this is the additional seasoning that they need in this recipe for success, which is add the quality to the quantity. Yeah. So we also get a window into the future with both these games coming to other platforms as well. So this is the thing that's that trident. The strategy leak as well. The update that they, with the booty man, forcing them to kind of pull back slightly, and what will inevitably be their, unlike their competitor strategy, which is they're going to be playing anywhere. They're ahead of the game. Like, this is the final destination. We've plateaued console-wise. And I think taking all that together, we can see the points of difference and interest from Xbox coming together. So this is kind of like the swing moment, I feel, that happened last year. But I'd be keen to get your thoughts on how did you feel that last year was for Xbox?
I think that COD is a known quantity. Like,
absolutely.
and Black Ops 6 changed enough that it is it is exciting for people to play it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's going to be telling is the next Call of Duty for me, and that when that comes out this year, like, how is that going to fare? Do you know what I mean? With Indiana Jones, I don't think there is no one on this earth who looked at the initial previews, looked at the initial stuff that they showed of Indiana Jones and went, that's going to be a critic's dream. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are going to be fawning over this middling game, but the fact that
10 out of 10.
it's disgusting. Like, yeah, I want to say something about it, but we'll keep it quiet. But no, do you know what? I'll say it quickly, right?
Here we go.
But how do we know that? Who made it again? Machine Games.
Yep.
How do we know that they intentionally made this AI stupid dumb fuck? Like, they never came out and said we're making the AI this way because it's in keeping with the Indiana Jones. What if Machine Game were just like, this is just the AI? Like, they're just
AI.
But people are saying like that's the reason why it's so good, because it's like Indiana Jones.
It's more like a happy accident, I think. Because
I think they've fallen on. I think they've fallen on their feet with it. But that's all I want to say, because I kind of feel dirty being like that's intentional, because it doesn't feel intentional.
It's probably more testimony to how well they've understood the character of Indiana Jones in general.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that was that on purpose?
I mean, I wasn't there, but
like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I don't
like,
think so.
But like, it's like the characters in Metal Gear Solid, the very first Metal Gear Solid, like their AI are not. They're not great, but it's like it's good because Solid Snake is so stealthy that they can't see him. It's like
you can play with it.
Yeah, it's weird. But I kind of feel it falling off. There you go. Whether I think that we weren't looking at Indiana Jones to be, you know, the flagpole of 2024 for the Xbox.
No.
Nobody could have predicted it.
No chance.
And I think that it's great. It's done wonders for Xbox, and it's going to do wonders for Xbox for this year because people are excited to play there. But I kind of feel like if that game was Gears of War, it would have been. I think it would have had more of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that it is a surprise, there's still this element of, well, they could still fuck it up. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, like,
of course.
But it's been great for them, and as I say, from what they're showing in this so far, it's positive. It's, you know, I'm leaning more on the positive side of it rather than the negative, and that's not like me. I am the doom mongerer for the Xbox in this podcast. So,
I mean, but we'll all knit this together, you see. So, so we know obviously that shifted. We touched on it with the strategy, which we know, which is you are an Xbox. This podcast is an Xbox.
My anus is an Xbox.
Jesus, I'm not playing on that. So joking aside, that is the end game. We know that, right? So the marketing campaign last year, which of course was memed to high heaven, myself included, but it was significant. You know, it felt like there was the start of what was going to be a very key campaign messaging over the years ahead. You know, this is an Xbox is genuinely a clever way to get across, you know, what is going to take a few years for consumers to uptake and understand. This isn't something they'll do in a few months. For this strategy to work, they need the casual on board, right? You touched on it earlier. The hardcore with the Series X, cackling at that campaign, as we aren't the punters that they're targeting.
Yeah.
We are the mug punter. I said it earlier, but we are the mug punter. We're the ones that's watching developer directs and buying the big meaty consoles.
Yeah, it's true.
But what they need is the casual. They're looking for the wider chunk of the pie. So by putting, obviously, I have to then touch on Game Pass and the big hitters. So them putting their games everywhere, at least I think anyway, what they're trying to do is familiarise the players with their brands and publishers. So all it takes is for that good word of mouth to spread, i.e. Indiana Jones, or Call of Duty, you name it. And then the consumer, instead of going out and it's like, I'm in a Series S or what, Series X, instead of spending hundreds, they could go into Tesco, get Game Pass, or they get a controller with Game Pass factored in, 60, 70 quid, they go home and they just play it off the back of like a Fire Stick or some shit like that. Or they buy a Fire Stick with it coupled in.
Yeah.
So it's a lower barrier to entry.
The barrier of entry is lower than ever, but I would love to see the numbers of people that are actually doing it, because it's a phenomenal campaign.
Yeah.
But I've no interest in playing Game Pass on a Fire Stick. Like, have you tried it?
We never will.
Have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried it. I've been intrigued. I don't actually know if my Fire Stick's there. I've been really intrigued to try it with the Wii one.
Yeah.
To be like, let's go and play the Paw Patrol game or something like that.
Just to see how it works.
If that could work, that could be such a cool. That could be another ways in. But I do think that lower barrier of entry, we should probably actually make a point of testing it out and see if we can get it, because I think it's came to LG tellies as well. But Call of Duty is so crucial in all of this, as we mentioned. The gamer that plays the one game a year. So that's like their whale. That's their Moby Dick. That's what they're after, right? Keep your head at the gutter.
I'm trying to think of
you could.
One of the first lines in Metal Gear Solid 5.
I think it's Call Me Ishmael.
Because it is Call Me Ishmael.
Yeah. It's, even if they manage to squeeze a few months of Game Pass out of them, the studies are showing it's around 40% of consumers will have a subscription and they forget about it. So that's kind of the subscription strategy across the board. So that pays for Xbox without losing money on a console sold, which, as we know, historically every console they're going to make a loss on. Now, if you chuck in a healthy amount of good games, like maybe the ones we talked about earlier, or ones that can at least intrigue them, it keeps them on it for a good few months. And then, oh look, a new COD, might as well keep it. And it keeps on going. So it makes Game Pass more enticing. And so, in short, I think to make them great again, they need to stick with this strategy and do not do what Sony's doing and chucking the baby out with the bathwater and completely ripping it up mid-generation. I think they just need to hold their nerve. And
they're onto something.
I think they really are onto something here. Because
I think it's the best message that we've seen from any of the companies in a very long time. It's just how it works. For me, like, I'm so skeptical of cloud gaming because I've always had terrible fucking internet. Like, the worst internet from anyone. But it's just to see how it works. And if it works well, then fair dues. But I've just never been totally convinced by it, and I've never had to be because I've always had the console. So I just don't see it through the. I just don't see it anywhere. Like, I don't see anyone talking about it. I don't see any of the ad campaigns anymore. Like, I don't see it anywhere. So it kind of feels like it launched December last year.
About November,
and then it just sort of fizzled out.
It did, yeah, and I think they're just starting to try and embed. They were obviously trying to gear up for the Christmas season and stuff off the back of Black Friday and that, but you're trying to unpick a generational habit.
That's true, yeah.
Which is they've spent the better part of 30 years marketing towards us, longer than that. This is something to buy, put in your house, and enjoy, whether that's on your own or with a family. And now you're basically saying, see all these wee knickknacks and gadgets you've got in the house. Well, you can play a game on that, and it's like, what? Like, your fridge is an Xbox.
No, I get the point. I see the vision, but I don't see the execution of it. Like, I can't see it. I'd love to say that the world can play an Xbox on their phone. Like, you can do that, but I'm yet to see it. Well, because I'm also not anywhere else in my house. Like, I'm anywhere else but my house. So,
well, I had to think about, say you and I were put in charge of Xbox tomorrow, right?
Oh, right, okay.
And aside from the absolute baths of cash that we'd be having, right? I think, how would we accelerate it? That was the question. So I thought this was fun, right? Just to be like, how would we accelerate it to answer the exam question? How do we make Xbox great again? Sticking to the strategy, making sure that we keep the momentum up. And obviously now what we know what we do is we know that the developer directors instilled some confidence in us and excitement. So for me, I would start, I think they need to aim to get, I was like, right lads, having a meeting, right? I think I want you to go out and get at least 2 launch exclusive games on Game Pass a year that has at least an 85 on Metacritic, right? first part of my manifesto is to get quality right. So I'm like, we need at least 2 critical darlings.
Okay.
Right? I need 2 more Indiana Jones games. Just give me that to start. They need that to keep players engaged with Game Pass because we want some tent poles. We want something to be like, oh, this looks cool. I quite like my games. And you're not going to get everybody with it. But I think in that April to October period, that's when I'm wanting them to hit because I'm wanting them to focus. When the focus on the next Call of Duty is higher, that we've also got Call of Duty, but in those lull months, just got something there to keep them ticking over, keep playing, pay me that Game Pass dollar. And a reason to keep the subs, so particularly for casuals. So we've got your Dooms, maybe even like Fable this year or South of Midnight, ones like that. Then I would target acquisitions or deals with EA. So they've already got one with the EA Play deal, but I would be like that, look, right, big man, EA, how you doing? I'm in charge of Xbox now. No, no big deal. I'm squadded. I know that FC25's underperformed, right? And I think it's only a matter of time before you make that live service. So I tell you what, I'm going to move heaven and earth to try and make a deal happen here. And I just try and get this EA Play deal to make sure that it gives the subscribers to Game Pass as well access to those games day and date, even if it's just on the Ultimate tier. And I take it in the chin. I'd be like, I need to put Game Pass up $1.99 or something like that. Again, the reason I do that is because I'm wanting to really try and saturate and target the casual.
The casual people.
FIFA, the COD. If you get both of them, man, you give yourself the best chance. It's not a guarantee because you're right. There's a habit you have to try and break. There's a behaviour. But I think if you do that, particularly now with the price of consoles getting sky high, you're giving an alternative to a larger chunk of audience. And yeah, get the casual and then double down. So basically spend the next 2 to 3 years pushing this Play Anywhere stuff. Make Xbox as ubiquitous as Netflix. I go back to when Disney Plus had launched. About 2 years later, I was seeing Disney Plus buttons on remote controls.
Yeah.
I think if you stick to it, within 2 years you could get a Game Pass button on that.
That's exactly
TVs.
Exactly what I was going to say with my own, you know, what was it, manifesto? I was exactly that. Get a partnership with LG.
Well, do you know I'll let you finish that one, right? But my last one is to weather the storm.
Okay.
Right? It's on trend. And release at least one major Xbox IP on other platforms a year, at least this year.
Right.
And to really get the message across. So that means letting go of a Halo, Horizon, or a Gears. Not all of them, don't go daft. But capitalise on that other platform reach and expand your brand and empire.
Yeah.
And build that little bit of trust. It's like Xbox makes some good shit. So and then they go, fantastic, I'm buying a Fire Stick. I'm playing the
going to do that.
There you go.
It's a good kind of plan for it. I think you're hitting upon the kind of key points of it and trying to target the casual audience in terms of you steal the fans of Call of Duty and FIFA both at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you've got them both in the palm of your hand, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. So you've got that. Make a partnership with a big TV company where every TV you sell comes packaged with a controller, and just a wee notification says you could Game Pass, one month Game Pass already included. So they go, I might as well fucking try it. I think I'm going to play Bejeweled on my Xbox, you know what I mean? But then they all of a sudden just fall into, there's an Indiana Jones game here. What was this Call of Duty game people are playing? And then you just you catch them by accident. With the sort of targeting PlayStation or Nintendo, I think the way you go about it is that you give kind of players on those consoles a tier of Game Pass of their own, where it's only first party Xbox games that are on it. So the Master Chief Collection, all the Forza games, like everything is on there, but you have to pay a wee premium to have it on there in the first place. And then, as you say, just fucking ride it out. Like, I don't think that I don't see how it works. That Play Anywhere is a phenomenal point to raise, but I think that every other person doesn't see that. They just see the console. Do you know what I mean? I need to go and buy an Xbox, I need to go and buy a PlayStation. They don't look at it like that. You have to have the advertising campaign. It can't be like, you can play with this or you can play with that or
that is a way to advertise it, by the way.
It's a great way to advertise it, but just put it in action. Just make a really stupid advert of someone just turn on a turn the TV on, and then just press this button, and then the console's there. The whole thing's there.
Get Christopher Walken out and get him to recreate the dancing with that, a mix of the song. I'm telling you, sells like hotcakes.
Christopher Walken doesn't have a TV to watch Severance on. He doesn't have anything to watch it. They had to give him DVDs to watch it.
Jesus wept, man. What a show. It's like Catch the Second
I haven't
series.
watched it.
I'm going to wait
never
till
watched the first season. Nah. I think that...
You like that slip? You didn't watch the first season?
I didn't watch the first season.
Oh, mate, go back and watch
I watched some of it, but I couldn't kind of stay on board with it.
Remarkable TV.
I think it is just a case of, if you're going to make this step, you either have to, double down on it, or I don't know. You can't strip it back now because you've said it. Do you know what I mean? Like you said you're going to do this, so you have to follow through with it. But it's just how it works. Is there going to be an Xbox button on my next TV's controller? Potentially, but that would be the only way I could do it. But I still don't see me personally me ever playing it anywhere else but a console. Like, if I want to, the whole point in buying this console is to run everything the best way it possibly can. Like, if you're going to be playing Call of Duty, is it going to run the same way as it will on an Xbox Series X? No. So then you've got the same issues. You might as well buy a Series S, and then you've got the same issues. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just don't see the... It's
all about like how our minds work versus someone that's not that ingrained in me. Like I said, we are the mug punters. Like, we're going to... The next Xbox will get announced in 3 years,
and we'll buy it.
We'll probably and then we'll end up buying it, even though it will do piss all different. I mean, we say that to people that bought a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yep.
And let's face it, has it really done? Has it changed the game that much? I mean, it look a bit shinier.
Yeah.
But I think this is the key point for me. We have reached the point now where consoles are going to be really expensive. We aren't ready for the PlayStation 6 price when that gets announced.
I can't wait for it.
We aren't ready for the next Xbox price when it gets announced.
Tariffs.
It's going to be something where they go, do you know what? Let's just sell this at as big a price as possible. And because we need to try and make the money back, because components have been more expensive than they ever have been since COVID.
Never have before. It's
Xbox, you might find will undercut Sony, but Sony, they're going to Sony.
Yeah,
they're going to Sony.
And I think that's the route you take with it then.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there has to be more of a push in the advertisements, and that might be what's coming soon, but I do just think you have to be like, even if you just had one, I don't think Indiana Jones is the game to lead with this. It might be for a casual audience, someone who, your dad's watching Formula 1 and all of a sudden there's an advert for Xbox on the telly and it says you can play it on the same TV you're playing it on now.
Yeah.
Your TV is compatible to play Xbox games, and it shows them Indiana Jones, and he's like, do you know what? This is the moment. But I just don't see that whole process that can't compute in my mind. Like,
no.
I don't see it transferring. And I think that's the point. I'd love to have a conversation with Phil Spencer and say, look, what is the take-up rate on this? Like, is it a way that you can see this? Do you know what I mean? Because if it's just...
We're going to do it.
We're going
to get him on this show and ask him.
Email him, but it's just be like, look, do you attribute rises in Game Pass numbers to this new ad campaign? Or is it just because... I don't know.
Call of Duty.
I honestly just can't... I can't see random person watching the telly ever being like, I'm going to buy it.
Not yet. But I think that there has to be... This is like, they're targeting a generational trend. You're talking about we're the Walkman generation, and the Spotify generation probably isn't there yet.
Yeah.
You're talking about the people that they're really going to be getting as the ones that may be like 12 or something like that.
It's true. No, you're right. And I think that you're going about it the right way with like an EAFC or something like that. Keep on changing it, FIFA EAFC.
Yeah.
But if you can go down that route, perfect. But aye.
Well, in terms of predictions for this year, and what I want to end on is like, we're talking about like how we would kind of, if we were in charge. But in general, we know what's happening around us. We have some speculation, but on the whole, any predictions for them this year, or how are you generally feeling about Xbox within the grand scheme of their competitors?
Better than probably the best of the three, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think the Switch 2 is going to sell gangbusters. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to sell like shit cakes, but it's the games, and as I said before, it's the games that are going to sell that console.
Mm-hmm.
With the Xbox, you know, their biggest competitor is PlayStation. You know, Nintendo are off doing their own thing. They're
always have
third person, they're third wheeling, but it's always just PlayStation and Xbox, and it kind of feels like PlayStation have they've been red shelled before they went over the finish line. Do you know what I mean? Like they've hit the finish line, or just getting to the finish line, and they've been red shelled because the PlayStation Pro, you know, it's not flexed its muscle quite yet. But I think
it's not even bent its arm.
I think that as the year goes on, the games that potentially will come out, you know, they're developing purely for this console. Do you know what I mean? Like a Death Stranding, for example, it's not going to look any better than on this console. You know, if we're not playing it on PC. But with the Xbox, you know, the biggest gripe that we've had about Xbox for forever has been the games. You know, we just want things to play on this console, and now they're doing it. So there really is nothing to moan about. You know, Game Pass is still the best deal in games, like ever. They're now putting games on there that people actually want to play. You're not going on there and just scrolling through looking at, you know, Cameo every single time you see it, or skipping past Blinks the Timesweeper, but it's just you're actually seeing games on there that you want to play. But there's also games on there from third-party developers and stuff as well that are actually showing up, like a Persona, for example. They've now got partnerships with Sega, so you can go on there and play in the Yakuza series. Eventually, you're going to see the Final Fantasy series on there as well. You know, Final Fantasy Rebirth, or Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, the kind of head people on that have said, like, it's not going to be PlayStation exclusive anymore. So that game will come out day one. It'll be on PC, it'll be on PlayStation 5, whatever it is, and then it'll be on Xbox at the same time. So it's like there's an ecosystem there that has been building for long enough now, where there are games to play on Xbox, and it is slowly becoming the console where if there's a game that I really want to play and it's on Game Pass, it's no longer going to be a choice of I'll play it on PlayStation. It's now I'm going to play it on Game Pass because I'm older and I'm spending more money on other things, and Game Pass is just the way to do it. It's as I say, it's the whole kind of key point in the previous few years was, where is the best place to play it? And it was always PlayStation for me, without a shadow of a doubt. In my own head, I'll probably still buy games for PlayStation. Like if I'm buying a game this year, I'm buying it on PlayStation. For example, if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out this year, believers, then, you know, I'm buying it on PlayStation. I'm not buying it on Xbox. But if it was on Game Pass, I'd play it on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, do you know the funny thing is, in the past 3 months, we have had 2 PlayStation Juggernaut exclusives confirmed. We've had Ghost of Yotei. We've had Intergalactic, a new Naughty Dog game. We've had a new console, PlayStation 5 Pro. And I am probably more excited about playing the Xbox than my PlayStation, in all honesty. And I know all it is we're just starving for the next big thing to come from PlayStation. I was very excited for Ghost of Yotei. In fact, if anything, that's the thing I'm most excited about. Intergalactic looked amazing, but I can't get excited about it because I know that's 3 or 4 years off. And the PlayStation 5 Pro, it just needs time. We've only had it for 8 months. So it's like, give it time. Trust the process. But I think that we're talking about, you know, making Xbox great again. It feels great to have an Xbox just now.
It does.
And I think really for this year, all I want from them is to stay the course. I think they've had a long bumpy road and they're overdue it. And they're not there yet. They're not king shit right now, but I don't think any of them are.
No.
But out of all of them, if if I'm in the bookies and they're all a horse, I'm like,
I'm betting on Xbox for this year. Yeah, 100%. I think coming off the back of last year with the layoffs and stuff and the studio closures and things, it would have been easy for them just to be like, look, steady the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get to keep it. But they've not. Like, it's just fucking throwing money at everything, and it's working for now. So, and it's all the ducks have lined up now that these games are going to hit. As you say, it's been years coming. You know, like we've owned an Xbox Series X for how long?
4 years.
And last year was the most I've ever played it.
Same.
Like, it's been years coming. So, and all it's taken is for PlayStation just to kind of ease their foot off that gas a wee bit. Like, that's all it is. PlayStation put their foot back down again. You know, the tide will turn. But
it will.
And you know that this could be in the next few weeks. PlayStation put a showcase up and absolutely make us all shit our pants because you know they've got the rights to Blink's the Time Sweeper and they've made the next mascot game.
It's also like, I mean, PlayStation are like the Man City effectively of this. They've got they might just have a few players out injured or they just don't have them, but they can just go and get them and put them on the park, and we know that. Like they're the vibes aren't good around it because of the news coming out this week about the cancelled, God of War multiplayer game. Blue Point. What a waste for Blue Point. My heart bleeds. But maybe we can dig into that in another episode. But it's interesting times. I would not have this in my bingo card to be kicking off the year.
Absolutely not.
Especially after that direct where we are with Xbox. And I think they're in a good place. They have potential to be great. So I would end it by saying, just hire us Xbox. just kick them out. We're here to do it. Just float us up.
I'll be Booty Man's best friend. And Phil, if you want to chat, you know where I am.
You got a new Booty Man right there for you. So get him hired. But anyway, I digress. Of course, that was good to kind of have another big Xbox chat. We should check in again in a few months and see where we're at then. But of course, that means it's time for the Pixel Picks Showdown, where each week we pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one to live on in the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend to pass on to the next generation of gamers. Now, in this week's showdown, we're going to be debating what best Xbox One game we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Last week's theme, of course, was Arcade Racer game, with Burnout 3 becoming the latest addition to that list, and that was, of course, Scott's pick. So, as always...
What was it?
Burnout 3.
So it was.
Last week's winner goes last. Scott, that's you. So let's get to it. Now, I was feeling evil this week by... We do a console special every now and then, right? And I thought, well, we're talking about Xbox. Let's pick one that was littered with choices. And the Xbox One, of course.
Littered with choices?
Yes, littered with choices. Litter's the word. So I've got two. And I've challenged you to come with an honourable mention this week.
Right.
Challenge.
My biggest problem with this has been the exclusivity part of it.
At least a year.
Because I am sure that the games that I have picked have been exclusive to Xbox One for longer than a year. But you will.
Let's just go with it.
Go for it.
Let's just go with it. So I think for me, my honourable mention is Forza Horizon 4, which I found incredibly fun. My proper introduction to the series, I would say, at that point, because I remember dabbling in Game Pass. Was it the Series S? No, the predecessor to it. I can't remember. The wee white one.
The 1S.
1S. I remember we both ended up buying that for Game Pass, I remember, because they were dirt cheap. They were like £180 or something. And yeah, remember playing Forza Horizon 4. I bought one on the way home
from Dubai.
As one does. But I mean, you get to drive down a version of Princess Street in Edinburgh. It's class.
I never played it.
I never saw the appeal of the Forza Horizon series because I'm not the racing guy. I played that game and I got it. It reminded me a lot of, when you're just like arsing about in GTA Online, just wanted to do like random races. It's basically that. But it was a good game just to sit, chill, and just kind of, drive a bit. It was a fantastically made game. Forza Horizon 5 was absolutely fantastic as well. Should add, but 4, impeccable. It's definitely one, if you're ever in the mood just for like, I just want to drive about, I don't want to play GTA, I just want to drive, I cannot recommend, just even for an evening, good Friday night game, that type of thing, having a few beers, don't drink and drive, but you can do it there. But my pick this week, it had to be, plain and simple, it was Titanfall. It was Titanfall because that was the reason why a lot of people bought an Xbox One, and it was the game because it didn't get off to the best of starts. Neither of those consoles did, to be honest with you, but the Xbox One, it was kind of like, no, just wait till March, because it came out in November, and then it came out, and it was a great fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
The multiplayer on it was class.
Absolutely fantastic, and it didn't have the audience it needed to succeed. Of course, it had the lack of campaign and stuff like that, but for me, it was symbolic of the Xbox One. You know, it was the also ran. You know, it had potential, but it didn't quite find the audience it needed to maximise on that potential. Because the Xbox One, right, it wasn't a bad console. It just had a bad vision for it. It was powerful. It had some cool things, remember the snap feature and all that.
They came out with the, what was it called? Like the upgraded one.
Yeah, the 1X.
The 1X. Like, they showed that off, it felt like very quickly after it came out as well. Like, it felt like it was like a year after that console came out. It was
Project
like,
Scorpio.
we're making Project Scorpio. It's like, all right, okay, then fuck me then. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And then you had this big thing with like a VCR. And, you know, I would say that was the best game on it. I should say the Xbox One just wasn't a great time because it was the only one. I remember trading that in to get my Switch, my OG Xbox One, and then years later I ended up buying a new one when Game Pass became a thing. But yeah, my pick this week, I'll keep it brief, Titanfall. So, Scott.
I love how you've covered me there for my massive yawn.
That's a good pros. We're absolute pros.
Oh, dearie me. Some would think I haven't slept. I had a very hard time with this. An extremely hard time with this because my head for dates is terrible. And I cannot remember what games came out on Xbox One and what games didn't, right? So I've picked two. Not games that I overly love, but games that I think are sort of symbolic of what that console was and the sort of attitude that we had around the Xbox at that time as well. My honourable mention is one that I actually did play though.
Okay.
And it's a little game called Sunset Overdrive.
Yes. Insomniac,
where it's so weird. But
it's a very weird game.
And like the tower defense stuff, you know, love it or loathe it. But the kind of the way you move around that world and sort of the way it portrays itself, it felt sort of, you know, symbolic of what the Xbox One was. Like, it kind of felt like it fit. It was a game absolutely teeming with personality and, you know, style and stuff as well. And, you know, it did a lot of things really well, which I think we're now seeing in other titles.
Yes.
However, that's an honourable mention, and I think I just wanted to put it out there. Was it an Xbox One title?
Yes, it was an Xbox One exclusive, and I should also add, I have never seen a game that polarised as much as that between the Atlantic. I remember all the US critics adored it and all the UK ones thought it was a pile of dog shit. And I remember being on a plane flying back listening to two podcasts, and it was like IGN or something like that. It was like, this game's amazing, wow, you know, cool, brah. And then the UK one that was just like, this is so annoying, I hate it. It was so interesting.
It felt very much like that, like it sort of overstayed its welcome, you know, the minute you started playing it. The second game that I picked, again, I'm not 100% sure on this, right? But it's a game that still exists to this day.
Okay.
On multiple consoles.
Okay.
It's been a very successful title for Xbox.
I think I know what you're going to say, but you go.
And it's one to do with boats.
Right, okay. No, now you've lost me.
Lost you. So I picked Sea of Thieves.
Oh, yes. I did consider that.
Can't remember, was that Xbox One? Was that before the Series X and stuff?
Our jury is looking at that just now.
I googled it, so I'm sure it is, but I can't also remember. But I'm pretty sure it came out earlier.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was originally came out on the Windows and Xbox One, but we'll count that.
Nice.
Windows.
That's fine. Windows can fuck off.
Released for the Xbox Game Pass. One of the earliest first-party games released for it.
And I think that, you know, to this day, the fact that it still exists and is still as popular as, you know, is then probably
Mm-hmm.
is very telling in how well it's been made.
Yeah.
Rare, wasn't it?
It was,
Made
yeah.
it. So I think we dabbled in it a couple of times here
Probably.
and there, but
In all honesty, for about an hour.
yeah, and
Couldn't figure it out.
it's not a game for us. But I think that every single time I've watched anyone play it, it's looked like a good laugh. Like
I know.
it's looked fun, but it's also a game that I don't think I'd have any patience for. And I also think that we were probably playing, Assassin's Creed Black Flag around the same time as well, which Somalian pirates I had that song stuck in my head all day. Like since I've picked Sea of Thieves, I've been pure with a yo ho ho. But yeah, I think that just the success that Sea of Thieves has had.
I mean, I'll hit you with this, man. In April last year, it reached 40 million players. That's insane.
It's disgusting for a game to do with weird sailing. It's just it's the game that keeps on. It's the game that keeps on giving, and it's the fact that it's on PlayStation now is only doing. It's only helping it. Do you know what I mean? I
really wish that I could got into that game and gave it a proper try. I won't have the time now. But
yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a game for me, but it's very telling in the fact that they trusted it to be one of the games that they took over to the PlayStation because they knew it would perform. Like it seems like it's a good hand in the whole wrestling terms, like it's a game that you can put out that'll boost talent. It's the Baron Corbin. Like Baron Corbin isn't a great wrestler, but he was very good at what he done, and he would always boost the person that he was wrestling as well.
A Chad Gable, to be honest with you.
Chad Gable, yeah, for sure. Shorty G. But yeah, I kind of felt that when I looked at the list of games that were on there, because there wasn't many. I was going to go with a Gears game, but nah.
4 didn't. 4. Really. I enjoyed it. In fact, I really enjoyed Gears 4, but
it wasn't the one for me. But yeah, Sea of Thieves is my choice.
So, what do you think is a better game, though? Sea of Thieves or Titanfall?
Sea of Thieves. I enjoyed Titanfall, but I think that Titanfall 2 was better. Like, Titanfall 2 took the sauce that Titanfall 1 had made and put a bit of salt on it and made it better. Put a bit of MSG in there.
Did you enjoy Titanfall
1? Not particularly. I think I enjoyed the moments that we played it in the multiplayer, but it always felt it didn't feel fully fleshed out.
What game did you enjoy playing more, Titanfall or Sea of Thieves?
I mean, I don't think I can say Sea of Thieves because we played it for 20 minutes. Like, it would be unfair for me to say that.
Because,
but if we're looking at the best Xbox One game, do you know what I mean? Like, on this list, the best Xbox One game to pass down to younger generations, is it Titanfall?
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
is it the game that
I agree. Actually, I agree. Yeah, because I'm like that. It's done the right thing. I can't really base it on today, but yeah, I think its staying factor has to be taken into account. So yeah, let's go with Sea of Thieves.
Fucking, I'm on a roll, man.
Yeah, I'm on a roll because I'm such a gentleman.
You picked the Xbox One game for this? That's like outrageous.
I know. I'm going to take a wee sneak peek because we don't like to reveal it until we're on the episode, but. Next week's actually a very good week for you all in, should I say. I'm looking forward to that one. That is good. Oh man, we're going to have to be really, really on it next week because that could be like a 10-hour podcast if I just let you ramble.
Me?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Have you got the thing on there?
You have a wee look whilst I just wrap things up here. But of course, whilst he does that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us. And if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, leave a wee 5-star review and also tell your friends. Share it on Blue Sky. Do everything that it takes to just connect, spread the good word. We must say we absolutely appreciate and love seeing the community grow. We're noticing that, so thank you. Everything you do is helping us out, making a big difference. Scott, it is test time. Where can people find you online if they wish to engage you in some discourse?
I am on Blue Sky. At lamaman.bsky.social.
You got it in one.
I'm getting better at this.
It took 43 episodes, you got it in one. For me, you can of course follow me at carmelite.bsky.social. And of course, thank you to our producer and music man, the talented and handsome Mr. Sean Murray, who is working overtime to make sure that our dulcet tones reach you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And of course, you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms and follow us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social. And of course, write to us. Let us know what you're doing, what's happening, what games you're playing anything with the wee ones. Let us know at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
It's windy out there, it's windy, bitch.